Here it is, your moment of glory. It's been a tight race. You've battled hard for the last 3 minutes, but it's finally here. Coconut Mall. You've passed the cars and rounded the bend. You're in the final straight. Funky Kong is in his full wheelie. But then it happens. The blue shell strikes, and you drop from first to sixth. Is there any justice in this Super Mario world? Welcome to Deep Thoughts While Gaming. I'm Chris Chappell. An evil tortoise, the princess he kidnapped, and the makeshift hero of a plumber who saves her. From Wario's sweatshop to the nursery that can only be accessed through a time machine housing the baby versions of Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Daisy, Nintendo's best-known characters have all been assembled for one reason: to fall off Rainbow Road at least a dozen times each. All right, 2 reasons. Because there's a race too. Friends, enemies, and lovers will compete in a series of races to finally decide once and for all who is the best driver, as gorillas and babies get behind the wheel. What could go wrong? Mario Kart needs no introduction. Every gamer should be familiar with Nintendo's premier racing series. As such, every gamer should be familiar with the rage-inducing blue shell. Just before crossing the finish line on the last lap, what should be your moment of glory, you're struck by a blue shell. Surely one of the most game-related sources of childhood trauma. This is an important step in the maturation of a gamer. It builds character to anticipate the sweet taste of victory, only to be struck down inches from the finish line, being filled with resentment and hatred toward Toad as he taunts you on his way to first. I'll get him next time. The blue shell strikes the first place player with total accuracy, giving an advantage to those behind, but closest to first. Interestingly, the power-up can only be obtained by players in 4th to 8th. That means the power-up occupying a valuable resource of the 8th place player is benefiting 6 others more than themselves, without those 6 having to use their own resources for the advantage. The player in 8th place strives for first and attacks the first place player, yet is unlikely to benefit from that strike, as they had not adequately climbed the ladder first. Interestingly, as that ladder is climbed, the opportunities to strike with the blue shell disappear in favor of green and red shells. While the power-ups are still intended to get the recipient ahead, they are now focused solely on the player's immediate surroundings, rather than just targeting first place. That's right, blue shells are fueled by envy. They are propelled to the front of the pack by the pains of inadequacy felt by the middle. The power vacuum created does not benefit the middle or lower ends of the race, but the others at the front of the pack. The blue shell is a vindictive attack by a racer from the middle of the pack who stands to gain little from their malice. In my daily thoughts about the Roman Empire, I considered how Caligula allegedly murdered then Emperor Tiberius, just prior to the Liberalia festivities, before presenting himself as the new emperor. For Caligula, his ambition paid off, as he was quickly accepted as emperor. It may have also helped how despised Tiberius was among the Roman people. After all, who likes a sore winner in first place, especially one who revels in subjecting innocent people to public torture and executions, who also harbors a sexual attraction to minors that is frequently acted on? Maybe Caligula isn't so bad after all. I mean, he did use an exorbitant amount of tax dollars on Tiberius's extravagant funeral. This Caligula guy might be all right. What were we talking about again? Right, the Bible. For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. James 3:16. In Christianity, envy is one of the 7 deadly sins, but you're probably not going to hell for gruesomely airstriking Wario. Probably. This indicates that envy has more than just one form. There is an excusable form of envy, like the ambition and strife to attain first place in Mario Kart by any means necessary. And then there's the type of envy that will condemn your soul to hell. Namely, anything you do in a game of Mario Party. I lost so many friends to that game. Stanford professor Justin DeArms divides envy into 2 different forms: benign and invidious. The benign form of envy is characterized by being emulative or admiring. This form of envy is seen all the time in competition, where every participant tries to be the best. A sportsmanlike player respects their opponents and learns from the champion, attempting to imitate and innovate what the best do well, in order to become even better, achieving new heights for the sport. The greatest players of sports, or Mario Kart, have clear admiration for one another. Though there is envy inherent in wanting to be the best, having the achievement and prestige that comes with it, that envy is good-hearted and benign. Invidious envy, on the other hand, revolves entirely around a desire that the rival will lose the good as its main priority. In the prior example, where the rival will coincidentally lose first place when you take first, the goal in relation to envy is benign. Your actions are inspired through direct ambition for yourself, carried through with respect toward your rival for pushing you forward in your aspiration for greatness. The goal is not just to put your rival behind. Every item in Mario Kart can be explained through the lens of benign envy. Red shells are annoying, but at least they come from the player directly behind you. It makes sense why they would strike you, as it will lead directly to them passing you. It's not a desirable outcome, but you can respect the hustle and the sportsmanship. Every item in the game is meant to move you up the ladder one place at a time, always having the most effect on the player immediately ahead or behind you. That is, every item except for one, that damned blue shell. What good could striking the first place player do for somebody in 6th? What about 8th? Little, if any. The blue shell they so vindictively send out is unlikely to do them any good in their ultimate goal of attaining first place. So why launch it at all? Envy, invidious envy. Their use of the blue shell is not good sportsmanship, and it is literally sinful. Perhaps no one understood the power of envy more than our good friend Karl Marx. Are the problems in your life the result of your own actions? Do you require personal accountability? Of course not! You are being kept down by the evil oppressors, lording it over you in first place, while you languish in 8th. They don't deserve to be in first. You do. Sure, you're terrible at Mario Kart, but how is that a reason you don't deserve that first place gold trophy? The solution? Marx called for the forcible overthrow of all pre-existing social conditions. Forcible means violent. If life is a rat race, communism is the blue shell that blows the whole thing up. And just like the blue shell, using it won't mean you find yourself in first place. Oh no, most people who support the revolution often end up against the firing wall or starving to death. A lot of people starve to death under communism. It's surprisingly common. But perhaps the blue shell does provide a good lesson. Just because you find yourself in first now, realize that's transient. You could someday be dead last. So don't breed resentment and envy. Instead of looking down on those who are behind you, whether in life or a game of Mario Kart, a little bit of humbleness can go a long way. As Confucius said, the superior man, when resting in safety, does not forget that danger may come. When in a state of security, he does not forget the possibility of ruin. When all is orderly, he does not forget that disorder may come. Thus, his person is not endangered, and his states and all their clans are preserved. Of course, he also said it does not matter how slowly you go so long as you do not stop, which is terrible advice for Mario Kart. Thank you for watching Deep Thoughts While Gaming. And remember, if someone comes to you and starts talking about overthrowing the Mushroom Kingdom's monarchy, casting off the shackles of oppression, and establishing the People's Democratic Mushroom Republic, throw a blue shell in their face. And check out this video about how Mario has become a sad shell of his former self in Mario Odyssey.